Sunday night. Tonight is Bible study night, and we are in the great book of Esther. Esther chapter 8, verse 3. That's where we left off last week. That's where we're going to pick up tonight. How's everybody doing? How's the world treating you? Amanda, you get the gold star. Gold star. Hi, Jack. Good to see y'all. Hiya, Jake. How you doing tonight, love? I'm tired. Worked hard all day. I'm exhausted. But I got my spectacles on. Disco spectacles, watch, wallet. You know how it goes. Anyway, ready to rock and roll. Kevin Cox, what's up, my brother? Hey, Jake. Hey, Amanda. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Kevin. There you go. How is everybody? It's been a very busy weekend. It's not even Monday yet, and I'm already working all day. That's not good. Softball playing chicken. Welcome back. She said, or he says, hey, I'm back. Is that a he or a she? I don't know. Who are you? You probably told me, but I forgot. Because I'm good like that. I forget things. Amanda says, hi, softball. Welcome back. We have a fantastic study in store tonight. I feel like I got something on my face. I think it's just a shadow. Oh, well. It's a she. Okay. All right. So I know you're a she. All right. Hey, welcome to the show, ma'am. We got a great read in store for tonight. It's going to be fantastic. So buckle your seatbelts and kick your shoes off and break your Bibles out. It's going to be lovely. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy bringing it to you. Meantime, how was your weekend? What did you do this weekend? Did you do anything special? Did you learn anything? Did you go anywhere? It's going well. Video Game Bros, what's up? You look a little different today. I don't know what it is. I assure you, it's the same me, only with less calories. Wait a minute. That's the wrong joke. This is the Sunday me. Truth is I broke my glasses, so I had to put on some new glasses. Some other glasses. They're not new. They're also broke because I'm rough like that. See, I hit myself in the face just yesterday, day before yesterday. Nearly knocked myself out with a tire tool. I'm rough on my face. Same guy, different day. That's right, softball. Kevin Cox says, I've been watching the NFL draft predictions. It is unanimous. At 10, the New York Jets will pick Squatch. I have not been watching the NFL picks. And it's unanimous. Kansas is going to win the Super Bowl. I hate it for you. Same guy, different glasses. That's right. These are my granny glasses. Sometimes I put on the tip of my nose so that I can really tell you that you're doing something wrong. And if you really ask a good question, I'll take them off and ponder longingly at the prospect of answering said question. But until then, I keep the baby greens behind the glasses so I can see what you're saying. Because unfortunately, I can't see. I'm blind. When do you start to study? At about 8:15. I'll give everybody a chance to roll in and we'll get started. You're a hot mess, Jake. Yes, I am. Thank you. Thanks for noticing. I'm in a good mood tonight. I'm excited. I'm happy. Full of energy. Full of spunk. Ready to rock and roll. None of that's true. I worked hard all day and I'm tired. I want to go to bed, but I got a Bible study to do, and by God, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to roll in before we get started. I don't want nobody to miss the good stuff. You're welcome, softball. I'm glad you're here. And thank you for coming back. There are some newcomers in here, so I'll tell you how it's going to go. This is not a typical Bible study. There's no preachiness. There's no altar call. There's no passing around the plate. There's none of that. We're going to academically look at the Word of God. We're going to see what it says. I'm going to explain it. You can trust what I'm saying based on the 35 years of experience I have doing that very thing, searching for those very answers. And if you think I'm wrong about something, do speak up. Because if you find a better answer than I found, I want to hear it so that I can correct my way of thinking. So this is an advanced college course on the Bible, but it's interactive, and you have every bit as much right to speak as I do. Just at the end, I'll do the speaking first, and then you can speak. But that's how it goes. April will be on soon. She is coming to get something to eat with me. It's wing night. Oh, yeah, Kevin. Sounds lovely. I had a double Big Mac for supper. Same thing as a regular Big Mac. There's just more of it. A little messy. Delicious, though. How long does it last? About an hour. Softball. We go about an hour. And then I'll do about 30 minutes of Q&A. And that's it. Kevin Clark says, I am at Beef's. That's Beef O'Grady's. And the guy at the bat next to me looks like a young Cheech Marin. Where's Chong? I don't know. Probably in prison. That's where he was the last time I saw him. And Amanda says, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe there and share, y'all, and support, y'all. All those things. Thank you. Guess what you will be doing about 2 hours from now? Sleeping. Am I right? Softball says, okay, sounds good. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to have you here. I like having new people. I can't wait till you're not a new people and you're an old people and you've been here forever. That's what I can't wait for. Till I can look at my list of my Peanuts gallery of people who have been here since the beginning, and you're one of those names, that will excite me. What do you think I'll be doing in about 2 hours, Kevin? Because unless anything changes, I'm going to be inspecting the back of my eyelids for holes. They need a good checking every now and then. Sometimes they get holes in them. If they're not fixed right away, that could lead to sleepless nights. Anyway. All right, we got about 4 more minutes and we'll get started. Did you guys have a good weekend? Softball, did you do anything special this weekend? Did you learn anything? Did you help anybody? Did you do a good deed? You will be unloading those 2 burgers, probably. Yeah, probably. It was 2 burgers on 1 bun, though. Hopefully that'll wait till in the morning, though. That would not be pleasant, I don't think. Because I'll be sleeping, like I said. And if that happens, it's not going to be a nice night. Now I want a Big Mac. Yeah. And so did I. That's why I got one. And not that impressive. I'd have been just as happy with a ham sandwich, I think. I'm really getting to the point where I don't even like to eat out. It's just a bunch of garbage. Need to put some vegetables into your diet. I didn't learn much, but I learned you're doing a Bible study. Well, that's a very impressive learn right there. Your brain got 10% bigger just by figuring that out. Hopefully I will provide an avenue that you're interested in that will bring you closer into the Word and let you find it for yourself. That's what we're trying to do. I'm just joking about the other thing. But we'll see. Cowboys 8 Pound, how you doing, sweetheart? Welcome to the show. Come on in. How are you doing? I asked that, didn't I? Everybody, please hit that like button. There's 8 people in chat. There's only 3 likes. That math don't add up. I would like to commend you guys because we have had record numbers of likes this month. More likes this month than any other month. So keep it up. Hey, good. And you? I'm doing fantastic, Cowboys 8 Pound. I hope you're doing as good as I am. I'm happy. I'm well fed. I'm smoking a cigarette and drinking a hot cup of coffee. Ain't very many more things I could need in this world. And I'm about to open up the Bible and do some studying. 2 minutes. Give April a chance to get here. And Cold Creek Croft and everybody else. Me too, says Cowboys 8 Pound. Well, cheers. If you got your Bibles handy, crack them open to that great book of Esther, chapter 8, verse 3. That's where we're going to start off. Now, last week we were introduced to Mordecai and Haman and the king and Esther, and we learned that she was chosen to be the front runner for the wife of the king. She hadn't married him yet, I don't think, but she's his gal. He's keeping her separate from all of the other ladies in waiting. And Haman is his right-hand man, the hand of the king. And Haman has a power trip. Haman wants to be the king, I think. And he wants people to bow before his awesomeness. And he comes up against this guy, Mordecai, who's a Jew, and they don't do that. They don't bow to anybody but God. And he tells him to bow, and he won't do it. And so he decides to really hate this guy because he won't capitulate to his awesomeness. So he ends up building a set of gallows with the intent of killing all of the Jews in the town because of what Mordecai did, because they're all that way. They don't bow to people. You could say it's the first inalienable right. You bow to no one but God. There's April. Sorry I'm late. I'm here, everyone. April, you're not late. We all showed up early just to confuse you. Anyway, so not knowing that the king's soon-to-be wife is a Jew and has heard what Haman has done, she calls them into a banquet. She prepares a meal for them, and just the king and Haman. Haman thinks, oh my God, I'm going to get an audience with the queen. But maybe she is married to him. I can't remember. Anyway, I'm going to get an audience with the queen to be, or the queen, and the king. I must be special. And she proceeds to poo-poo on his parade and tell the king everything he's planning to do. And keep in mind that Mordecai had previously saved the king's life in an unrelated incident. So the king feels like he owes him, but he didn't know who he was. And so now the queen tells him who Mordecai is. And the king says, well, let's put him on my best horse and put the crown jewels on his head and parade him through town and make him feel like a king for a day because he deserves it. I can't stand this. So anyway, to make a long story short, Haman is going to end up being hung on those very gallows that he produced to hang all of the Jews, because that's not how you handle the Jews. And if you know anything about God, you know that the Jews are God's chosen people. You probably don't want to be hanging them. That's not a good move. What did I miss? And I'm back. All right. Kevin says, I am having some apple cider tonight. That means I'm being fruity. Well, I guess apples are fruit. April says, Sarah, I'm so glad to see you back. Cowboy, much love. Amanda, Jay, Kev, everyone here in chat. To see you tonight. Good to see you tonight. I mean, softball, not Sarah. How do you know? I was going to ask who's Sarah. Sorry, I'm driving in my texting and voicing mode, but I'm fixing to be stopped, so I'll be back. Okay. All right, well, we're going to get started. It is time. All right. So chapter 8, verse 3 reads like this. And Esther spake yet again before the king and fell down at his feet and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite and his device that he had devised against the Jews, that device being the gallows that he built. Gallows are the things you hang people on. And then the king held out the golden scepter towards Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king and said, If it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and if the thing seems right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, and she's a gorgeous woman, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha. That's a strange word, Hammedatha. I bet she got beat up in high school. Anyway, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews, which are in all the king's provinces. Well, if he's going to kill all the Jews, you're going to lose a big workforce because they're everywhere. They're in every province you have kingdom over. So if it's a good thing for you and you don't really want to cause an uproar, how about let's not kill all the Jews? That's what she's telling the king. Remember, Haman is standing right there paying attention to this exchange. He's not in a good mood. For how can I endure to see this evil that shall come unto my people? What? Haman's like, I didn't realize you were a Jew. That's not good. His number has been called, He's going down. He knows it. Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? I'm kin to these people. Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen and to Mordecai the Jew, Behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman. Remember, Haman is the right hand of the king, and he has his own palace. Esther now has that palace. And him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. Let that be a lesson to you. Don't hurt God's chosen people. Even if they're doing wrong, you leave them alone. He'll handle it. All right. Write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. And remember, Haman had the king's ring last week, and he was issuing orders on behest of the king. And the king had no idea. That's how this whole thing got started in the first place. Well, when he hung Haman, he gave Esther not only his house, but that ring. That ring is a seal. You put it in wax and you put it on a piece of paper, and that's just as good as the king signing it himself. So he's basically told her, write whatever law you see fit. If you like it, I like it. Write it down and seal it with that ring, and that will be the law. That's my gift to you, queen. This is a good king here. Seal it with the king's ring, for the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring may no man reverse. Then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month, that is the month of Sivan. If you want to get out your Hebrew calendar and look up Sivan, you'll know what month that is, and you'll know where we're at. It's the 3rd month. April is the 1st month, so that would be June. On the 23rd day thereof, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews and to the lieutenants and to the deputies and the rulers of the provinces which are from India unto Ethiopia, in 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing and according to their language. So the law has been put out in every language, in every province. This is the way it's going to be from now on. And he wrote in the king Ahasuerus' name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by posts on horseback, and riders on mules, camels, and young dromedaries. Do you know what a dromedary is? Amanda, look up dromedary so everyone knows what that word means. I could tell you, but I don't want to rob you of figuring it out. That's Dromedarius. And sent letters, I read that one, wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people in the province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take spoil of them for a prey upon one day in all provinces of the king Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar. Now, that would be March, the 12th month. A camel is a dromedary. Yes, it is. But they said camels right before they said dromedary. So do you know what the difference is? A dromedary has 2 humps and a camel has 1 hump. All right. Bye. You just got here. I thought you were going to pay attention. Oh, you have to leave? Okay. Well, come back. That's all right. I understand. Come on back. We'll be here. Or you can come back and watch this video later. Anyway. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, and that the Jews should be ready against the day to avenge themselves on their enemies. So Mordecai has put into law amongst all the provinces that any Jew that is oppressed or is hurt in any way, they have the right to rise up and kill whoever caused this problem and then take what's theirs for themselves. They don't sound very oppressed to me. They sound pretty powerful at this time. Well, it goes back and forth. Because the Jews are God's chosen people, they're expected to be a certain way. And when they are that way, they are powerful and they rule the world pretty much. And when they fall by the wayside, they get punished for that and they end up being slaves. And it ends up going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth throughout the whole book. They just keep screwing up in every generation. It's like every other generation is a good generation and every other one's a bad one. Kind of like what we're doing now. April says, I learned something new, Jake. And Amanda, thanks. You're welcome. So the posts that rode upon the mules and camels went out, being hastened and pressed on by the king's commandment. And the decree was given at Shushan, the palace. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. So here, remember at the beginning of this story, he's basically a streetwalker. He's basically homeless, just wandering around the city. But he did do something noble, and the king has rewarded him kindly, handsomely for it, basically making him the right hand to the king because he's worthy of it. Mordecai was a good man. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor because of this new law. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. How do you become a Jew? Is Jew a religion or is it a nationality? Well, you can marry a Jew and that would make you Jewish by default. I suppose you could convert to Judaism and practice their religion, which is Judaism, which is the belief in God, the same religion that we practice, only ours is more westernized. And because we're Gentiles, we don't follow all the rules that they follow. But it's the same basic religion, same basic tenets involved. One major difference, and that would be Jesus Christ being the Messiah. They don't believe that. They think he hadn't come yet. Other than that, it's the same religion. Now in the 12th month, that is the month Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, meaning it was established and then they started doing it, in the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that had them. Interesting. They had the power, not the other way around. And when they don't have power, it's because they're being punished. It's because they did something wrong, that they didn't follow the word of God. You understand? So anytime you can look in history, when the Jews were enslaved or killed or kicked out or whatever it is that happened to them, you can ask yourself, why are they being treated that way if they're God's chosen people? Well, it's because they didn't follow the commandment of God. That's why. And the evidence of that is all throughout this book. I'm not making this up. It's not my opinion. That's just the way it seems to be. The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus to lay hand on such as sought their hurt, and no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all the people. And all the rulers of the provinces and the lieutenants and the deputies and the officers of the king helped the Jews, because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them, also a Jew. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater. He was truly a well-known individual and had lots and lots of power because he was wise, because the king trusted him, because the king put him in that position. Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, and slaughter and destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them. And in Shushan the palace, the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men. That's in the king's own palace. And Parishandatha and Dolphin, that's not a fish, that's a place. And Aspatha and Paratha and Adalea and Aridatha and Parmashata and Arasai and Aridai and Vajezatha. They've been vajazzled. The 10 sons of Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Jews, slew they, but on the spoil laid they not their hands. They didn't want anything to do with anything that belonged to Haman or his family. They did kill them, but they didn't take any of their stuff. Interesting that. On that day, the number of those that were slain in Shushan the palace were brought before the king. And the king said unto Esther the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan palace. And the 10 sons of Haman, what have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? Now what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. Or what is thy request further? And it shall be done. So he's telling her, your men have accomplished what you set out to get them to do. They've killed everybody. Is there anything else I can do for you? It's basically what he's saying. Is there anything more that you require than this? Because it's been done. And to prove it, there's a lot of dead people. So, do you need anything else? And then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according unto this day's decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. And the king commanded it be done. It so to be done. The king commanded it so to be done. And the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day also of the month Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan. But on the prey they laid not their hands. They didn't take any of their stuff. But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives, and had rest from their enemies, and slew of their foes 75,000 people. But they laid not their hands on the prey. Even though the king told them that they could take whatever they wanted from these people, they took nothing. They just killed the people. And why did they kill the people? Because those people sought to hurt them. They sought to damage the Jews or wipe them out of existence. So, kind of like what's going on now in certain parts of the world. It's going to come down to the same kind of thing. Depending on whatever side of this you fall on, that's your business. However, April, did you mean to hide Dennis? We are talking about these people, Dennis, Israelites and Jews. There should be no difference, just so you know. The Israelites are the Jews, or should be. I think these other people are the opposite side of this argument that we're reading about now. You see, it was prophesied in the book of Daniel that there would be 70 weeks, and those weeks are basically decades, 7-year periods. And that ended in 1948 when Israel became a nation state. That prophecy ended, and Israel came together in the place where they were supposed to be, which is Jerusalem. And since that day, the enemies of the Jews have been trying to put their hands on them to hurt them. Well, you see here that Ahasuerus the king has decreed that the Jews have the right to defend their own honor and kill those who would wish to hurt them. That's in the Bible. Nothing has changed. That law still exists in the kingdomship of whomever was put after Ahasuerus. It's probably changed hands a few times, and it's probably, they may have even changed the way they do things. They might not even have a king anymore. They might have a prime minister or something like that. But the history is still in effect. Nothing has changed in that land. It's the same argument that's been going on for 4,000 years. It has not been resolved. That's not to say that either particular side is in the right or the wrong. It just means that this is a problem that does not concern us, and we shouldn't be involved in it, period. Because that's between those people. They know what they're doing. They know what they're fighting for. We do not. Where am I at? Oh, yeah, here we go. On the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested they, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day, the day thereof, and on the 14th thereof, and on the 15th day of the same they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day, and of sending portions one to another, meaning they were generous to one another. That's a good place to be. April says, I hit the sidebar, Dennis. I'm sorry. That's okay. It happens. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both near and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar and the 15th day of the same yearly, as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and sending portions one to another in gifts to the poor. And the Jews undertook to do so as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them, because Haman the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast Pur, that is Lot, meaning they gambled, to consume them and to destroy them. Pur is a game they used to play. It's something akin to shooting dice. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's basically you cast a lot. That's what they're talking about. Same thing they did for Jesus's clothes while he was on the cross. Same game, different place. Pur is the name of that game. Anyway, they cast lots to consume them and to destroy them. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, the gallows to hang them, should return upon his own head, that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows, as did happen. Wherefore they called these days Purim, after the name of Pur, which is the game they played for their lives. So those days are Purim. Now you know what that means. Well, they convert people to Judaism, but that's God's chosen people. How can man do that? Man cannot do that. Let me explain. Judaism is a religion. To be a Jew is to be of the tribe of Judah, which is a bloodline. That's a nationality. You can't convert somebody to a nationality, but you can convert somebody to a religion, i.e., you could be a Catholic and convert to Christianity. You can be a Protestant and then all of a sudden watch this podcast and become untethered, because that's what you are when you pay attention to what I teach. But that's not a bloodline. That's not a nationality. That's a religion. That's a belief system, a set of moral values. So you can convert that way, but you cannot convert into a person who is from the tribe of Judah. Walter Davis, what's up, my brother? Good to see you, my friend. How was your weekend? Did you have a good weekend? I hope so. Yeah, bloodline, says Dennis. Yes, sir. Amanda and Cowboy said, hi, Walter. Let's see, where am I at now? Therefore, all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them and upon their seed or their offspring, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them or became part of their religion, as we were just discussing, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing and according to their appointed time every year, and that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed. So presumably it's still going on to this day. If you have a Jewish friend, ask him if he practices Purim, and you'll see what his answer is. Walter says, hi, Jake, April, Amanda, Cowboy, Softball, Dennis, Kevin, Video Game. Hi, Walter. Then Esther the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew, wrote with all authority to confirm this second letter of Purim. So it is in law. This is the way it is. And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to 127 provinces of the king of Ahasuerus, the kingdom of Ahasuerus, with words of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed, according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed the matters of the fasting in their cry. Remember, when this all began, they were fasting and crying to God for him to help. And this is the help that was received. Why do you fast? Brings you closer to God. I don't know, there's something about emptying out your body, cleaning out your vessel, that makes it easier for you to communicate with the Father. I don't know what that is, but Jesus did it, and it's been taught since the beginning of time to fast before you pray. So there's something to that. I don't know what it is. I think it has to do with being clean or something. And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book. Which book? This book, the book of Esther. And the king Ahasuerus laid a tribute upon the land and upon the isle of the sea, the isles of the sea, the islands. It was Jamaica, man. And they had parades from now on. And whatever that music is. No woman, no cry. You know that stuff. What is that stuff called? I can't think of what it's called. Anyway. And upon the isles of the sea, and all the acts of his power and of his might, and the declaration of the greatness of Mordecai, whereunto the king advanced him, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia? Yes, they are. For Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed. Reggae, that's the word I'm looking for. Amen. That's where we're going to stop for today. Why? Because the next book is the book of Job, and we're going to get into that book. The book of Job is intense, and is about 38 chapters of God totally smacking Job in the mouth. So, you know, we got to get into that, and that's going to take a study of its own. I don't want to go any further than Esther for tonight. So, questions, criticisms, comments, catharses, catalogs, Krakatoas, Crispies. What do you got? Who are you? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that read as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. I hope that it causes you to reach out with both hands toward your Father and build a relationship with him. Speak to him. Talk to him like you would talk to anybody else. like you would talk to me. Tell him what your problems are. Tell him what your expectations are. Tell him what you need. Tell him what you want to give him. Because, you got to bring something to the table too, because that's how a relationship works. It's a two-way street. Anyway, while you're considering what we read tonight, won't you please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online and when my new videos drop. Smash that like button. It's free, it's effortless, and it really does help the channel with the algorithms, and it helps us get recommended to other people, and that's what you want, to get out there in the world. So please do that. Share this video with people you love. Better yet, share it with people you don't love. Bring them into our family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform me, drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you think you're critical, that's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love the Word of God and you can see the value of what I'm trying to build here and you'd like to help out, or if you feel led to send your tithes, offerings, or love offerings to this humble ministry, or if you'd like to just pat me on the back and say, hey, Jake, here's a cup of coffee. Nice job. You can do that. You can support my work by going to paypal.me/Jake Johnson Band. Paypal.me/Jake Johnson Band. And if you're a Cash App user, you can go to $Jake Johnson Band. $Jake Johnson Band. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing to me. But it's a blessing to you too, because we live in a reciprocal universe, and God, He tends to notice these things. Now, I will do everything in my power to be worthy of that support and answer all of your questions and comments as I do regularly. Proceed. Great read, Jake. Thank you, Amanda. Hey, man, says April. Yo, man. April says it was, Jake. Much love, everyone. Sub, share, support. Hit the like button. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it. I like the book of Esther. I think it's a sweet book. And it goes to show that a good king can make all the people happy. How did he make them happy? He appointed Mordecai, the guy that should have been in charge, to be in charge. And killed the guy that shouldn't have been in charge. The guy that was taking advantage of everybody. That's what a good king does. Think not? Trust me, that's what a good king does. Time to switch. I prefer my coffee hot and my drinks cold. Not the other way around. What say you? Did you learn anything? Do you feel anything? Do you want to know anything? Do you have any questions? Considering that the world is on fire right now and it has to do with the very thing we just read about, I would think somebody'd want to know. Or do you already know? Am I barking up the wrong tree? Let me know something. Talk to me, damn it. Hi, April, says Dennis. Dennis, what would you like to talk about the Israelites and the Jews? Which are the same thing, by the way. There are 12 tribes. One of them is Judah. Those are what we call them all Jews. But really, there's only one tribe that's Jews. The other ones are Danites or, Ephraimites or whatever. But those are hard to say, so we just say Jews. But I think that's just a colloquial word that we've used to describe all of those people. But there are 12 distinct tribes of people. Hey, Walter, come join us. We'll buy you a drink, says Kevin. Don't tempt him. He might. He is heading this way at some point. He might keep going. Walter, are you still with us, buddy? Then it says, no, they can't be Israelites. That's a bloodline and God's chosen. Yes. Israel is of the tribe of Judah. Israel is the name that God gave Jacob, who was of Abraham's seed. So, that is the bloodline. Incidentally, the word Israel means, if you transliterate it, to wrestle with God. So what I derive from that is that if you're not wrestling with the concept of Christianity, you're not Christianing right. You should be wrestling with it. You should be asking questions. Walter says, get married to April. April, come up to the boat for a weekend and I'll buy you a drink. Kevin, I'll buy that for $1. I got my suit pressed and ready to go. Whenever you're ready to do it, I'll do it. The one and only time you'll see me in a suit and tie. That's worth it. That's worth the price of admission right there. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, Israel is not a place, it's a people. We call it that now, but it began as a group of people. And that would be the 12 tribes of Abraham. You get the boat. You get the boat to yourselves, says Walter. That's a pretty sweet deal there, Kev. It's a nice boat, too, from what I understand. Did you have a good weekend, Walter? Or did you work yourself senseless? That's what I did. I moved about 4 metric tons of pine straw and leaves today. One of those big red dumpsters, the big long ones that they put on the back of the flatbed truck. I filled one up to the brim with leaves and pine straw today and logs and stuff. Debris. Lots of pitchforking. So my arms are sore. April says, oh, Walter, that's nice of you, love. Then it says, some folks have been exploiting the immigration rules to escape the long arm of the law by claiming to be Jewish and going to Israel instead of facing the laws they broke. Unfortunately, there are a lot of counterfeit Jews in the world. In fact, I would go so far as to say that some of the ones that we think are Jews are not Jews. I don't think we know who all of the Jews are. And I'm using that word to describe all 12 tribes, not just the one tribe, because that's the colloquial way of doing it, I guess. But you know what I mean when I say that. Walter says, I got home Saturday to watch the kids, and Linda's not feeling well. I'm sorry she's not feeling well, Walter. Is pickleball a legitimate sport? No, sir. No more than handball is. April says, I'm sorry. Please let Linda know we're praying and thinking of her. Amen. Don't blow your nose on camera, Jake. It's not professional. Yes. Well, that's how a lot of people are tricked into supporting the Gaza stuff they do. Yeah. Well, again, I say that is a conflict that has been going on for about 4,000 years. We don't understand the intricacies of it. We don't know what they're fighting about. We just see the aftermath of it. And We have no business being part of that. And anybody that involves themselves in that is doing so under a fool's errand because they don't grasp the gravity of what they're fighting about. This is not a war that is going to be won. It's not a thing that's going to be resolved. April says, LOL, it looks like tennis, but a small, weird racket, right? Walter says, I'm about to go to Mexico, cross over, claim to be an asylum seeker, and get a plane ride home with a $5,000 gift card. And I can use the money. Amen, Walter. Stop by and pick me up, and I'll go with you. I'll say my name is Jesus. They make it out like it's a religious when it ain't. I think it's a little bit more than religious. It has to do with the land. It has to do with claiming the right to be in a place. But God, 4,000 years ago, told the Israelites where to be, and it's his land, so he can give the title to whoever he wants to. So the people that were there already didn't like that very much, and the war started then, and it hadn't stopped yet. Kevin says, before you do that, Walter, you have to speak Espanol. Or just don't speak, says April. Walter says, Kevin, I'll make up my own language. I'll get extra good treatment. Yeah. You identify as a Martian and dare anybody to say you're not one. I identify as the guy you owe all that money to. And I'm here to collect. April says, LOL. You can't be Antonio anymore, says Cowboys. Why? Because I shaved off my mustache. It'll grow back. I got to keep trimming it so it'll grow thicker. That way it'll come down like this. Oh, but I will be Antonio once again. I will be Antonio the pool boy. Amanda says, right, Cowboys? It'll come back, I promise. I just got tired of it tickling my nose. It'll come back. Plus, when I ride my motorcycle, it flaps in the wind like this, so, you know. All right. Well, we made it to 9 o'clock. That's an hour. Yep, it'll be back about next week, says Amanda. It grows pretty fast. Walter says, this summer after baling hay, I'll be pretty tanned. I'll pass for south of the border. That's right. Go down to Florida and get a job roofing. You'll look south of the border for sure then. I used to look that way back in the day. Believe it or not. When I was young. Very, very dark complected. But it's because I stayed burned all the time. I think probably 10 years I roofed in Florida. Somewhere in that area. 8 to 10 years. Farmer tan don't count, Walter, says Amanda. He said, I won't have a farmer's tan. I'll take my shirt off. Walter says, as long as they don't tell me to drop my pants, I'll pass for Mexican. Oh, Lord. Kevin says, hey, Bigfoot. Amanda says, LOL, Walter. And Walter says, my ass will glow in the dark. Mine does that already. Dennis says, everybody look up star in a jar. Then remember that God said, let there be light. And it was so. Jacob the Great says, hi, shalom, assalamu alaikum. Dennis says, hey, Kevin. Amanda says, Jacob, welcome back. Jacob, I have a question for you. Do you practice Purim? And could you tell us what that is? Jacob says, thanks, Amanda. Yes, he does practice Purim. Could you give us a brief, you don't have to go into great detail, just give us an idea what that is. Amanda says, you're welcome. April says, Jacob, good to see you. And thank you for the information, by the way. We just got out of the book of Esther, which is where in the Bible that tradition was set up. And I just wanted to, I didn't want to be wrong and say the wrong thing. So there you go. Purim is celebrated among Jews by exchanging gifts of food and drink known as mishloach. I think I said that right. I don't know. Donating charity to the poor, known as Matanat La, can't read that, Ev Yanim. I'm not a Jewish speaker, so you can read that for yourself. Eating a celebratory meal known as Seudat. I don't know. Anyway, that's what it is. It's a practice that has been going on since the book of Esther. It's 2 days, right? And you have to look at your Hebrew calendar to find out when Adar is. That's the month it happens in. It's an experiment where they use sound to create light inside a jar of water. Yeah, I've seen that experiment before, Dennis. You can also do that with a grape in a microwave. Yes, correct. So is that March? It's the 12th month, right? April is the first month. Is that right? And so it's the 12th month, if I understood that correctly. Amanda says, yes, March. Kind of. Yeah, I understand that they measure differently than we do, but I'm trying to compare it to our calendar. Softball says, and I'm back. Well, hello back, Softball. Welcome back. You missed a good study. And I learned something new today, which don't happen often. So thank you for that, Jacob. Amanda says, welcome back, Softball. Now we're just talking. Yes, now we're just asking questions about the study that we just did. Walter says, my grandmother was Jewish, but ended up in a Catholic orphanage where I am sure they beat her into a Catholic. I really want to learn about the Jewish faith. Well, you're in the right place to get started because we're going through the Old Testament. However, if you want to know about the Jewish faith, they got a few more books than we have. And it's quite confusing, and it does not pertain to you because you are a Gentile. However, if you got any Jewish blood in you, it may pertain to you. So it might be worthy of you looking into it. After I said it, I thought about it. You said your grandmother was Jewish. So there might be a path for you to get into that. And you can look into the books. I believe the Talmud is one of them. I don't remember all the books because I don't study Judaism. I study Christianity, so I stay with the Bible. But there's like many books. I don't know how many, but a lot. And all of them are full of laws and full of understandings and details about the Jewish religion. And it's quite interesting. There's a lot to it. It's not a simple religion at all, and it's very old. So I'd say you got your work cut out for you if you want to get into that one. About the only things I know about the Jewish tradition is as it pertains to the people in the Bible as they go along because they were Jewish. Right on up till Jesus, who was Jewish, but kind of taught something a little different, which is why everybody was up in arms about him. I dug into the Old Testament when I was a kid, and all I got out of it was a smiting. I got in a lot of fights over nothing. Well, I don't know if that had anything to do with you reading the Old Testament. You might be conflating two separate things there. However, hopefully this time around you can slow down and learn a little bit about what goes on in it and listen to the studies, and I'll break it down into little bits, make it easier to digest, and maybe you'll get a better understanding of it that way, or not. Maybe it'll just inspire you to read it again. There's a lot of great information there. And every question that you could ever ask about life is in this book. The answer to it is in this book. You just have to know where to look. April says, softball, good to see you again, love. Incidentally, I got in a lot of fights when I was a kid, too. Mostly because I was weird and had thick glasses, but I don't think it had anything to do with me reading the Bible. Because I didn't start reading the Bible till I was in my 20s and had a formal education under me before I started. It's great going over it with you, Jake. You explain it well. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that compliment. That means a lot to me, and I'm honored to do it. Really, I am. Where is MVTV, Fab Daddy, and Lisa Marie and Margie? Lisa Reen and Margie. I don't know. They're not here tonight, or they're lurking in the background. One. And ATL also. He usually pops in about 5 minutes before I leave. And Jacob, thank you for the answer to that question. I appreciate you giving us that information. It means a lot. And it adds credibility to what we just read. And Caucasian's on his own, doing his own thing. He pops in when he ain't busy. Cowboys 8 pounds says, yes, he does, Walter Davis. Explain it well. Thank you, Cowboy. Usually comes in to say hi, says April. Yep. I think Sasquatch is live now. Probably so. And that might be where everybody else is. Either way, we had a good little read. We got through the book of Esther. We're about to start the book of Job tomorrow night, and that's going to be a long study, so get prepared for that one. Because Job is the oldest book in the Bible that we think is the oldest book in the Bible. I say we, I mean the scholars who put the Bible together and have been studying it for years think it's the oldest book known to exist. And it is chocked full of stuff, and it has something unique where God speaks in the first person to Job throughout this whole book, which is not something that typically happens. Job is good, says Walter. Yes, it is. And it'll give you a lesson on being smited, as you called it earlier. It will tell you why those things tend to happen, and it will explain to you what God is doing when those things happen, and it will explain to you what you can look forward to after it finishes happening. So that's something you really want to tune in to pay attention to. Oh, okay. Well, I'm driving, y'all, so I'm listening. Jake, I'll send you love your way. And yes, Job is deep. Thank you, April, and thank you, April. I appreciate it. I can use it. I can use all the love I can get my hands on. I want to smite some folks, says Bigfoot. Yes, I do too. But I have to turn the other cheek, right? That's what the big man says do. So that's what we must endeavor to do. And I'm not saying you're always going to be successful at that, but you should try. Amen. God bless. I love you all true, says April. April, I love you too, sweetheart. And thank you for being here. And thank you for doing such a good job. You mean the world to me. I am about 2 shakes of a lamb's tail away from going to bed because I'm tired. I worked all day today out in the yard, and my little arms is aching, and I'm ready to go to bed. So, any questions? Going once, going twice? Yakov, are you still with us? Drive safe, says Cowboys. Amanda says, night, April. If you are still with us, tune in tomorrow night for Job. I could use your help on that one. Walter Davis says, turn the other cheek to make a slap into a punch so you can fight back under Roman law. Well, actually, the Bible says a couple of things concerning this. Now, remember that Christ said, and we think Christ is the Messiah, so we think that he is God's representation on this earth in man form. And what he said was, I did not come to change the law, but to fulfill it. I didn't come to change one jot or tittle. That's the little dashes and dots above the words in the Hebrew language. I didn't come to change anything, not the meaning of one word, but to fulfill it, to make it whole, which means the Old Testament stands today as it did in those days. This idea of the New Testament does away with the Old Testament, that's wrong. That's wrong think. You got to think properly. Jesus said, the law is the law. It always has been, it always will be, and I didn't come to change it. I just came to make it right. And one of the laws is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. So, go figure. There is some interpretation to be had in that area. Cowboys 8 pounds says, rest well, everyone. Amanda says, night. All see you tomorrow. April says, love you back. Amanda hugs everyone good night. And you too, Cowboy. You guys are so sweet. Make my teeth hurt. I love you guys. I really do. I mean that. All right, enough of this mushy stuff. I'm going to bed. Have a great night, everybody. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being here. May God bless your lives, and may his grace light your footsteps everywhere you tend to go. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow night at 8:30 right here for the introduction to the great book of Job. It's going to be fantastic. Don't miss it. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Walter says, under Roman law, a legionnaire could tell a non-citizen to carry his stuff 10 miles. Jesus said, do 20 without complaint, so they know you're a tough people. I like it. Amanda says, Amanda says, hugs April. Kevin says, I got to get up early. Night. Me too. And good night. God bless. And thanks, Jake, says Walter. And Dennis says, thumbs up. Thank you, guys. I love y'all. Have a good night. Thanks for watching.